If you have less than 5 personal credit cards, you have a thin credit profile. And when I say credit cards, I mean bank-issued credit cards like Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, PNC, and Truist, not your sister's Target card, all right? But seriously, guys, when you have less than 5 credit cards, you are not only more likely to get denied for funding, but even if you are approved, you are likely to get low limits. So in this video, I'm going to break down multiple strategies to accelerate the growth of your credit profile so you can obtain the maximum amount of funding for your business. So first things first, why does it help you to have at least 5 credit cards? Well, by having more credit cards, you're demonstrating to the banks that you have experience handling credit cards. And that's why it's crucial to make sure they aren't store cards. Those are typically limited to just making purchases in that particular store. And that doesn't really demonstrate financial discipline, as you are limited to what you can spend on and what you can't spend on. And that's why everyone should make it a goal to acquire 5 bank-issued credit cards. I have a client in Arizona who has 6 credit cards with an average age of 5 years. And he's getting denied by banks for the reason being that he has too few revolving unsecured cards / not enough history. And that's because his cards are mainly store cards. And some newer FICO scoring models, such as FICO 10, no longer place a lot of weight on store cards. Guys, I review on average 3 to 5 credit reports per day for my clients. And I always see a ton of fintech cards like First Premier, Credit One, Apple Card, and the Bank of Missouri, just to name a few. And it crushes me because you are wasting a hard inquiry on a low limit, low quality trade line, whereas you could have gotten a bank issued credit card with higher limits, travel rewards, cash back, and build a relationship with a bank that offers 0% business funding. And that would increase your odds of approval. So first thing you're going to want to do is steer clear of store cards and fintech cards and make it a goal to get 5 bank-issued credit cards. Another thing I see is people with 3 cards from the same institution like Capital One. And this also gets me mad because, well, for one, Cap One is trash. They pull all 3 bureaus and their business card reports that are personal, but I digress. But really, once you have one card with an institution, you should go build relationships with other banks instead. Unless there's a great sign-up bonus or reward or something like that for that particular card, you're better off getting a foot in the door with another bank. Now, for my clients within credit profiles, we'll typically go ahead and do half a round of business funding and half a round of personal funding. This way we can get the business capital that they need, and we'll end our funding sequence with a mini round of personal funding by acquiring 2 to 4 personal credit cards to build out their credit profile and make relationships with new banks. So 6 months from now, 12 months from now, when they need more funding, they now have a broader credit profile and new relationships that they can leverage for more business funding approvals. We typically won't do more than 4 cards, as you're going to want to stay under the 5 and 24 rule so you can qualify for Chase credit cards. And Chase, in my opinion, is the best credit card lender out there right now due to high limits up to $75,000 and $100,000 per card on the business side, 0% interest for 12 months, and high bonus points and the best rewards program out there for traveling for free. Now, another thing I see is people adding a ton of authorized users. And what you need to understand is that authorized users can artificially boost your credit score, but they don't help your credit profile. The underwriters at the banks will see that the card code says authorized user, and they know that it's not really your account. So AUs are not a supplement for lack of trade lines. You need to build out your credit profile so it can stand on its own 2 feet and get approved. The last thing is that banks often use something called comparable credit. They look at your other credit limits to determine how much funding they should approve you for. And they like to see what other lenders granted you with and what kind of limits you have experience handling. And for that reason, everybody should make it a goal to get at least one $10,000 to $25,000 limit card so that banks can approve you for higher limits. Typically, you can get these cards from credit unions like Navy Federal, First Tech Federal Credit Union, PenFed, Andrews FCU, or Digital FCU. One problem people often face when initially building out their credit profile is getting approved for high limits. They get caught up with the low limit rat race with store cards or Capital One because when you're just starting out, no one wants to take a chance on you. And once you get these low limit cards, everybody else also approves you for low limit cards. But one cool hack you can actually do is get a Discover card. The Discover card allows you to do a soft pull credit line increase every 30 days. This allows you to get a limit of up to 10K or more in less than 6 months. And now when you go for other cards like Chase and American Express, you have better odds of getting a card with a $2,000 or higher limit. And you've essentially fast-tracked the growth of your credit profile by doing this. This brings me to my next tip, which is asking for a soft pull credit line increase from any lenders that offer it. Lenders like Chase, American Express, Navy Federal, Citibank, Capital One, Bank of America, US Bank, and Wells Fargo often allow you to ask for a soft pull credit line increase every 6 months. By routinely doing this, you can beef up all of your credit limits and your credit profile so you could be approved for higher limits in the future. So that basically wraps it up for this video, guys. To recap, everyone should make it a goal to get 5 bank-issued credit cards that demonstrate they have experience handling credit to the banks and further increase their odds of approval and the limits they're getting approved for. Steer clear of fintech cards, store cards, or repeat cards from lenders you've already established a relationship with, and branch out to newer banks. Routinely request soft pull credit line increases on your accounts to beef up the limits, and remember that authorized user accounts are no supplement for lack of primary trade lines. As always, guys, links for credit repair and business funding with no upfront fees are in the description below, as well as info on my group and one-on-one business funding mentorship packages. This is Credit with Colin, and I'll see you guys on the next one.